Married at First Sight, season 17, episode 9. So we're down to only 6 people on this show now, if you don't count the little cameo appearance by Lauren and Orion. This is the episode where the couples host their housewarming parties. Watching each couple decide on what their party theme was going to be was like watching a potato at a grocery store. Like, nothing to see here, folks. Just a potato sitting there potatoing. Hi, I'm Tamara, and this is Tamara Lynette Tells. Let's talk about Emily and Brennan. They listened to Pastor Cal's advice and moved into their apartment together. Emily made 1,000 trips down to her car to bring her bags in, while Chewbacca stood over there making weird noises and not helping. Like, what? Huh? And keep in mind, her wrist is still messed up from the honeymoons. So it really made him look bad that he wasn't helping his wife with her things. Anyway, they decided to go for a wig theme for their party. Now, when they were walking around the costume store shopping, I was completely distracted by the fact that they were allowed to try on practically every wig in the store without having to have on a hairnet. Now, anyone who's been to a legit wig store knows that they don't play. Like, allowing everybody who walks in the store to get their hair juices all over the wigs. But I digress. When they got home, Brennan put on the blonde wig and started talking like, yeah, ride the wave, like a surfer dude. I was like, okay, wearing a wig is completely in his wheelhouse. Now he can add a disguise to his fake on-screen persona and fully transform. So overall, I thought the wigs were a cute idea. Well, until everybody put them on. They look like a group of homeless hippies who just woke up from a marijuana nap. Like, nobody brushed their wig. Now, once the party started, Emily got to meet the folks who wiggled their way into Brennan's circle of trust. Like he's some kind of mob boss or something. But hands down, the best part of this episode was when Brennan met up with Emily's friends. Have you ever seen a person try to call somebody out but not know how to articulate what they're trying to say? So it didn't really make sense. So it didn't land the way they hoped it would. Yeah, me either, until I saw this scene. So Brennan was explaining how he's a giver in a relationship. And if anything, he tends to give too much, right? Which we have yet to see, by the way. But her friends were like, did you help her move though? And he said, you gotta understand, if this was real life, I'd totally help. What did you just say? If this was real life? Dude thinks he's a character in a virtual reality game. Now, if I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt, I think what he may have meant was that producers wanted to film her bringing up her bags at the same time wanted to film him unpacking and putting things away in the apartment. So their TV shooting schedule kind of dictated that situation opposed to a real life scenario. But for someone who's so worried about his image, he may have been better off insisting that he help her with her things and be filmed as being a helpmate or a gentleman rather than a sloth. Anyway, he said he didn't help Emily with her bags because this is not real life. Emily's girlfriends were not having it and tried their best to call him out, but couldn't really express what they were trying to say. It was like watching tipsy sorority girls trying to go off on their best friend's boyfriend. Seriously? Like, who are you? You married my best friend. Why didn't you help her when she moved in? And tonight you stood there and just watched her while she put everything out of the oven. And he said, wait, I'm the one who took the food out of the oven. Okay, but like, you're married to my best friend. She plated the food while you just stood there. Who lets their wife put sourdough bread and baba ganoush on a plate by themselves? You're married to my best friend. Marriage is a partnership. I'm just wondering how you're gonna show up for my best friend. I'm just not sure about you. You're making it tough to film. You don't want to communicate. Like, you're married to my best friend. Like, who are you? Why can't you give that to me? And why did you even get married at first sight to my best friend? Like, I can see where they were trying to go with their little incoherent rant. They were trying to call him out for being a jerk to their friend instead of a gentleman, like not having her back and not helping her out, especially since she's wounded from her honeymoon half-naked shower where they allegedly didn't have sex and she skid and fell on the floor. So Brennan was pissed off, and I get it. They came in hot. However, his behavior throughout his marriage so far has given them a lot of ammunition. They weren't wrong. He does sit on the sidelines and watch her struggle with her one wrist situation. So on Afterparty, Emily said that Brennan acts differently on camera than he does off camera, and it's confusing because he says nicer things to her on camera, and she's wondering what is true. Girl, the truth is, he's just not into you, boo-boo. Let that man with the personality of a statue go. I never thought I'd say this, but at this point, Emily feels like she has more relationship experience than Brennan. It's just weird to me that Brennan is so conscious of the cameras, like how he's being portrayed and trying to be so careful with his words that he barely speaks, but he still manages to come across as a noodle brain. At this point, Brennan doesn't even seem to like Emily. These two don't stand a chance. I bet they're going to fight a lot this season if they aren't already. And by the way, on Afterparty, Emily said that she had so many bags because she brought a lot of cleaning supplies. Like, apparently their apartments don't come stocked with anything. And if you enjoy my content, please hit that like button. And if you think you'll be back and haven't subscribed, I invite you to hit that subscribe button. It's free after all. And not for nothing, but there are over like 60,000 of you that watch my channel regularly. I should at the very least have 40,000 subscribers. So let's claim that for me for 2024, okay? Lauren and Orion, since there are only 3 couples left, they decided to drag out their storyline and have them both talk to their friends and family about the same stuff we've been watching them say for the last 7 episodes. So Orion told his friends that he's not ready to date yet because he did have feelings for Lauren. Feelings? Really? Feelings of lack of attraction. And he said his family was disappointed for him because he didn't get who he wanted. A submissive, non-Indigenous person who can stamp his birth certificate. Whatever that means. So Lauren was chatting it up with her people. And whenever Lauren gets serious and really speaks her speak, the girl is talking her butt off. However, I don't understand what she is saying. This is what I hear. I've been garnishing through a lot of superficial emotions, and one of them is anger. But I know that anger is really a boisterous level infiltration of my eurythmic consequence. So I demobilize that I just need to sit with it. And there's a lot of inconclusive nomenclature that I need to fortify before I serenade my inner child's esophagus disclosure blockage. That makes sense, right? No. She's definitely talking, but she's speaking a different language. Like, I grew up in the 80s, girl. Give it to me straight. Like that jive turkey wasted your time, and now you're mad. So Claire and Cameron. Between Claire and Cameron and Emily and Brennan, I'm not sure which couple won the most awkward award this episode. Both of these couples seem to have a lot going on behind the scenes, but glossing over it when the cameras are rolling. Cameron kind of feels like he's actually trying to make it work, from what they've shown us anyways. However, since Claire sees him as Gavin the giraffe beanie baby, she can't stop nitpicking at the man and being passive aggressive towards him. She went to his job and tinkered around with some of his bikes, like some stuff she never would have done in real life. Shout out to Brennan. Like, that was strictly for the cameras. Meanwhile, Cameron was trying to capitalize on this situation and launched into his little Schwinn commercial. I'm one of only like 5 people in the country that specialize on carbon fiber, and I'm really good at it. I see you, Cameron, and I'm not mad at you. If you're not going to get a wipe out of this situation, may as well get more clients for your business. Now, to the confessional cam, she said that it's attractive to come see him do what he loves. Miss Claire is grasping for any crumb she can scrape off the floor to discover a way to find him the least bit appealing. Now, when they were preparing for the housewarming party, I thought she was being a CEO, the chief of everything officer. In other words, controlling and passive aggressive. Did you bring the food? You didn't bring the food? Really? You had one job. Girl, you only had one job too. Decorations. Why are there only 4 balloons? So they were ordering delivery and had 2 hours to go before folks arrived. So there was plenty of time, but she was so wound up about it. I thought she was gonna pass out. Like, calm down, Claire. Uber Eats got you, girl. Meanwhile, Cameron broke the news that none of his friends were coming. Now, on Afterparty, Claire said this is why she was so upset and cutting up that day. She felt like he wasn't making an effort for her to get to know his friends. But remember, his so-called friends are like his mother's next door neighbors, cousins, or something like that. I'm thinking that in real life, shout out to Brennan, these are not his friends. So, Claire, simmer down. After the food arrived, she walked in and asked if he heated it up, which sounded kind of bossy to me. But when he said no, she went into passive-aggressive mode again. You didn't? That's fine. That's fine. Just sit there. I bet the oven isn't even on. Oh, no, it's not. Now, Cameron was surprisingly calm and said, no, it's not because the food is already dry. So finally, Claire realized she was doing too much. She just seemed to be picking at him. Anyway, I guess the theme of their party was weird cups or something, because Claire drank out of a pot the entire night while her friend drank out of a rhinoceros's nose cup all night. Now, during the party, Cameron dropped a few big bombs. He said that his father doesn't know he's married, doesn't know he's doing the show, they aren't very close, and he's on his deathbed. Wow! Claire's mouth dropped open and so did mine. Like, that's important information you left out, sir. And Claire asked you if your parents knew you were getting married on your wedding day, and you said they did. I guess he didn't want to bring down the mood by sharing his dad's situation at the wedding, but he's had plenty of time since to tell her. Now, later, Claire confronted him about not sharing his father's situation and waiting till they were in a group setting to tell her. Maybe you didn't create a safe space for him to share that information, Miss Clarapist. Did you notice how Cameron was awkwardly putting a chokehold on that blanket during that conversation? Now, I'm no therapist like Claire, but even I could see that he wasn't ready to have that conversation, which he ended up telling her he wasn't. In this episode, it feels like Cameron was the calm one and Claire was the one pouncing and seemed very annoyed by him. But to the confessional cam, she was the one saying that she's feeling better about them, but not quite sure if it's enough to make a marriage work, while Cameron was the one saying, she's giving me nothing to work with, no feelings of admiration, affection. I get nothing from her. Yeah, I can see that from Claire. And the problem with this show is internet dating. It's hard to get these people to try and stick it out with someone they are not feeling when there's so many options out there waiting to be swiped on. So on Afterparty, after they showed the scene where Cameron told Claire and her friend about his dad situation of him not knowing about the marriage and being on his deathbed, then flashed to the scene at the wedding where Cameron said the opposite, Claire was crying. She said she can't understand why he doesn't seem to want to show her who he really is, and was hurt that he straight up lied to her about his dad. Now, I believe some of the reason he did that may be his own thing going on that he needs to work out. Like, Cameron seems to have a not so happy past. Like, he's not close to his father, got kicked out of church, and moved across the world to a different country away from all of his family. Like, there's something going on there. But the other part of the equation is Miss Clarapist's approach to this relationship. He's not feeling like he's your friend, let alone your husband, Miss Girl. Becca and Austin, these two are in the same place. Becca is slobbering kisses all over him while he's trying to figure out how to bow out gracefully. They met up with some of Becca's friends to celebrate her 32nd birthday, and her friends were shooting all these questions at them like, how are you two getting along? Do you have much in common? Do you see why you were matched? And Becca was the spokesperson, firing back answers like, great! Oh, we're so awesome together. Oh yeah, we're totally off the charts in that area. And Austin was sitting there like, nachos. So apparently, when it comes to their sex life, she's ready for it, and he's not. He claims that he's always slow when it comes to sex. Meanwhile, his female roommate was saying he wasn't slow with me. Just kidding, they claim to be platonic. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if he feels uncomfortable with the idea of having sex with her at this point. Like, he may feel like he's gonna break her or something. So when they had their housewarming party, Becca talked to Austin's friend about religion, and he was like, funny, it's never really come up until now. I'm an atheist and Austin could care less. Now, obviously, his relationship with his friend is going to be different from his marriage, but his friend was giving me the impression that Austin is not a religious person and religion didn't play much of a part in his life, which leads me to believe even more that Austin is looking for a reason to tiptoe backwards out of this relationship without hurting Becca's feelings by giving his true reason for wanting out. You know, Becca seems super nice, and I can see why he would struggle with being honest if his reasons could possibly be hurtful. So for now, regardless of the state of these marriages, this show seems to be running these folks through their little formula of wedding, reception, honeymoon, moving together, housewarming party, couples retreat, and a sprinkle of experts help on week 7, then decision day. Now, if that was a winning formula, I wouldn't be mad, but since most couples barely make it past the honeymoon these days, maybe they need to change things up a little bit and have them go through like individual, couple, and group therapy weekly. Like, go watch some stand-up comedy and talk about the parts that they enjoyed after, or go to an escape room and try to figure out the clues together. Go on a food tasting tour. Like, do something to change this formula. What do you think they could do differently with these couples? Let me know in the comments. In the meantime, that's all I got for now. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in my next video.